All right. So, this is my first time doing this on this channel, and it's also my first time in a while doing this at all. On my other channel, I did this weekly, and then I stopped because I felt like it was getting to be too much. And recently, I've been feeling like I could use a little more practice, and I kind of want to just get back into it in general, so I'm gonna do it again. Just getting my hoodie evened out, you know, pulling your strings even and all that kind of shit. This is my official psychic hoodie, and I'm wearing it because the basement where I am is freezing. Ivy League Psychic Academy, it's where I was trained. And where I'm sitting right now is not where I would like to be sitting. There's another table, but it has a bunch of stuff on it, and I don't even know where to begin removing it, so we're gonna deal with that tomorrow. This was unplanned. Otherwise, I would have had it taken care of beforehand. But this right here where I'm sitting is where I normally do my psychic readings when someone books an appointment with me. My days off are Friday and Sunday, and incidentally, those are the days where I go live. So on my other channel, I'd go live on Sundays, and that channel hasn't been, neither of my channels, to be fair, have been very active lately. But yeah, Friday on this channel, I'll be doing live streams at 8 p.m. I'm not sure if they're all going to be psychic readings. That kind of is always going to just depend on how I feel, because occasionally I'll reach a point where doing it for free just isn't going to feel right anymore. It's going to feel like it's not a good thing always. So for now, this is what I'm doing on this channel. Just trying something new. I don't know if anybody's going to tune in. I don't know if anybody's going to care, if I have enough people to care. But I know that when I did this on my other channel, it got more attention than my other live streams because people like free stuff. You put the word free in the title, people tend to want to watch. However, that was the problem. It was attracting too many people, and it was attracting greedy people. You know, people who only wanted the free stuff and they would never have been willing to pay for it. And the questions were starting to also feel a little bit greedy and not respectful of my time and energy. So it started to feel like a waste of my time to be doing it. I wasn't really getting anything out of it. I wasn't really helping people, it felt like. It felt at a certain point like I was just not really getting anything done, so I don't know. But I want to do psychic readings to practice because I think it's important to keep it going, to you know, if you're going to be offering them at all, you need to be prepared and make sure that you don't feel like you're getting practice from it. You want to feel like you're just being of service and giving someone a reading. So I want to re-familiarize myself with that feeling, if that's a word. I know familiarize is a word, but re-familiarize. And I'm used to giving readings in this spot right here, so it kind of works out if you think about it. But yeah, I just have to wait for people to tune in. This is the kind of live stream where I need people here. Otherwise, there's no point. It's as if I'm not even live. I know that YouTube has been kind of screwing me lately. It doesn't notify my subscribers when I'm live. It doesn't really do anything for me anymore. And it's very frustrating because I try to be active on here, and YouTube tries to screw me over. My most recent upload was called The Second Amendment, and I talked about how I feel about that argument, that issue in the US. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Now, I am a little bit more passionate when it comes to that issue than a lot of people. I take it a couple steps further than most people do. Like, I have friends who feel a similar way about it to me, to how I feel about it. But when you actually ask them about it, they'll be like, I don't know. They'll, and this is honestly, it's better than nothing. Like, you know how I feel. I reached a point where I'll take what I can get. If we can make it just safer, that's fine. And that's what most people ask for. But for me, that's a compromise. Like, regulations and safety and stuff, that to me is a compromise. Because ideally, what I would actually like is for guns to just not exist at all, anywhere. Because I don't think they really have a reason to exist. The only thing that they're designed for is murder. That's all that it's ever going to accomplish, is either killing or seriously injuring somebody. And I just don't know why that should exist anywhere. Like, what are you ever going to do with that much power besides kill people? But they exist, and people say, oh, well, at least keep them in authority, people, so that they can protect people. Well, there are other things they can do to protect people. Guns are not necessary. They should never have been invented to begin with. And I will stand by that. I mean, I'm very stubborn, so just to prove a point, I will be the kind of person who would sooner buy a sword than a gun. Like, I'm very stubborn about my principles, but at least I'm consistent, you know? I'm not one of those people who it's like, oh, well, I bet you, all the celebrities you like, I bet all their security guards have guns, or, you know, people try so hard to make it sound like there's an inconsistency or a hypocrisy, and oh, I bet you'd wish you had a gun if you were in this situation. No, I wouldn't. It's that simple. I just would not. I will never in my life depend on a gun to save me. Just the same way as I will never depend on the police to help me either. Things that I protest as stubborn as a mule. I will not budge. And every the only thing that I notice is that things keep getting added to the list of things that I refuse to participate with, and I just become more stubborn. It doesn't get better. It doesn't, you know, alleviate over time. Where it's like, oh, I don't know if I just used that word right, but where it's like, oh, I don't know, maybe now I don't care as much as I did then. It's like, no, doesn't change. It just gets worse. And I keep adding to the list of things that I'm not going to do. So the one thing you cannot say about me is that I'm inconsistent in my beliefs. So that's a good thing, I think. I'm not a hypocrite. And if I ever am, I catch it, and I'm willing to hear it if someone points it out to me. I actually consider shit, and I, if anything, overanalyze shit. So, you know, I have a pen and paper to help, because these are better when I'm writing. The fact that I'm sitting in the spot where I normally do it, the fact that I got a pen and paper, I got my hoodie on, I'm taking this a little more seriously. I'm treating it like a professional reading. And every day of the week except for today and Sundays, people can book with me, and I can get an appointment, and they don't have to give me notice either. They could book the reading at 6:05 for 6:08 or something. Not 8. They could book it at 6:08 for 6:10. I'll put it like that. I think it's every 5 minutes. So they don't have to give me any notice. It's a call center that I work on. So there's, you know, all I get is I get a text with the name and phone number of the person, and it comes in an email too. I only have it as text, so I definitely get notified right away, and I gave it a unique text tone. I always make sure to have my phone with me during my availability hours. And when I get an appointment, I just come down here, right where I am, and I do the reading. And it can be anywhere from 15 minutes to 60 minutes. The in-between are 30 and 45. 15 minutes is $40. An hour is $160. I get paid half of that because I'm doing it through my teacher's call center. She gets the other half. And if I wanted to make my own website, I could charge my own rates. I could do my own shit. But that I just haven't gotten around to. And with the lack of interaction I'm getting as being part of her website, I don't know that I would get much of my own anyway. Although I haven't tried it, so I should definitely give it a shot. I just don't know that I really know where to start in building my own website. I don't know where to begin with that. I'll have to ask someone who's done it, see if I can get some advice from them. My mom had her own business at one point. She got a business card. I think it was called Breve Spa. So I'll ask her how she did that. I'll ask her, like, where do you begin creating your own business? What are the first steps to that? And I'll just see what I can do. But for now, this is what I'm doing. No one's here. It's been 10 minutes and there's no one watching. So I'm a little discouraged. I don't know if I should continue this live stream. Because I don't want to just keep you here with a misleading title, Free Psychic Readings, and you're just watching me ramble on for 10 minutes. That's not fun. But here I am nonetheless. I tried. I found the only woman I need to love. Where the fuck is everybody? It's not like I don't have any subscribers. It's not like I'm a brand new channel. And it's not like this isn't an intriguing title for a video. It's a Friday night, you know? It's not like people would be at work anyway if they have a 9-to-5 office job. What should I talk about? No one's here. I'm just talking to myself. If I wanted to talk to myself, I would have just filmed my video for Tuesday, which I have to do anyway. Maybe I'll make a video about psychics. To be honest, I haven't thought about what my next video is going to be about. I don't think, have I? Have I made a video addressing this topic yet? Probably not. Could be interesting. Come on. You know, last Thursday, I think, I did a random spontaneous live stream on my other channel for a full hour. No one tuned in. I got 0 comments the whole time. No one showed up. Even that video after it was posted got, like, no attention. And I think it was called Does Politics Matter? And nobody watched it. I did the live stream right after I filmed the video that I posted here on Tuesday. And that seems to have gotten not a lot of feedback, but positive feedback. The feedback that it did get. Because I made sense, obviously. I only say things if I think it makes sense. Unless you're talking to me in private as a friend, then I try not to make sense. But when I'm talking to the public, I like to make sense. I don't understand people who have, like, anxiety or stage fright, and they're not good at public speaking. I'm great at that. The only problem is I need to know that people are here for me. What I do get nervous about is walking onto someone else's stage, or like if I'm at a talent show and I walk up there, because people aren't there to see me, you know? It's not my channel, it's not my business. People are, like, they didn't stumble across something that is my business anyway. I'm basically going out of my way to kind of shove myself at them, which is different because, you know, anybody can do it. And that's when I get anxiety, because I feel like I have to be good enough and I feel like I have to follow someone else's rules. Where did a like come from? Somebody liked my video? It says no one's here. You who liked my video, can you comment? Oh, hey, I'm good. How are you? Thank you for commenting. Finally, I have somebody here. I've been alone for 15 minutes. and I was starting to wonder if anybody was ever going to tune in. I'll be here for another 45 minutes. No, be yourself. That's why I started following from the beginning. Thank you. You got a supporter in me. Oh, that's nice to hear. I feel like YouTube doesn't notify my subscribers when I go live. YouTube, I think, hides my videos sometimes. Like when I posted my last video, I did it as a premiere. I didn't see the premiere show up in my subscriptions feed. I had to go out of my way to find it. Why is YouTube trying to screw me? It's not fair. I didn't do anything wrong. Do they not like the things I'm saying? Wouldn't surprise me. They've been known to silence people for talking about specific topics, which is fun. Isn't that just fantastic? They like to keep people quiet. I found the only woman I need to love. YouTube definitely does mess with spiritual people in general, especially if you're coming up against the machine. It's my favorite thing to do. You know, Ivy Rivera, the medium that trained me, has a series on her YouTube channel called Late Night Circus, which is basically like a news channel. She talks about all of these stories that aren't getting a ton of press attention, and she shares her opinions on them. And it's basically my favorite news source at this point. Her most recent episode, I actually already knew about a lot of the stuff, but most of her shows that she's done, a lot of it is new to me. She's only done 4 so far. 4 just came out like a day or 2 ago. It's really good. I recommend watching Late Night Circus on her channel, but it's hurting her platforms. You know, they keep, like her TikTok lives will just end suddenly. You know, even on YouTube, they don't like that she's talking about this stuff. Keep pushing out your contact. There's always someone in the world who can see your point of view. Yeah, I'm sure. What I was talking about right when you tuned in was about how I defer posting a video publicly on my YouTube channels, or any platforms of mine for that matter, from walking into a public place and performing something on a stage, like a talent show or karaoke or anything like that. It feels so different. I'm not afraid of public speaking. However, there's a difference between speaking to the public on my own platform, on my own terms. If, let's say, I had a show, right? If it was like, get tickets to come see Tristan, that would not make me nervous at all, because people came there aware that they were going to see me. It's the same thing as my YouTube channel. However, if I was somebody's opening act, or, you know, if I didn't know the audience, it gives a completely different vibe. And it makes me feel a little bit nervous. And I don't feel like it is the same fear of public speaking. It's more a fear of doing the wrong thing that is irreversible. When you're live, you can't undo it. And I had that same issue when I tried to give somebody a reading a couple weeks ago. Somebody booked a private reading with me, and I came down here, I sat right here, and I did it. This is where I do my readings normally. And I called her, I started talking, and I realized I wasn't really getting anything useful. And I was overcome with anxiety. I realized I had forgotten to ask her to say and spell her first name to establish a connection and voice vibration, which makes a big difference apparently, because about 3 minutes in, I remembered and I asked her to do that, and then everything started flowing and I started getting more information. I got my confidence back. But in those first 3 minutes, I was like, help. I was about to have a breakdown. I was like, shit, I'm not getting anything. I'm like getting random useless shit. I'm like, the number 3 is coming up. I was so embarrassed. And I apologized to her. I'm like, I'm so sorry. This is embarrassing. And then I remembered and I was like, okay, are you okay? You know, oh my God. The anxiety right there was through the roof. I was like on the verge of just having a complete breakdown and saying, "I'm sorry, let me refund you," and just like completely giving up. I'm gonna quit life. And just, I could have escalated it a lot more than I ended up doing, thankfully, but it turned out well. She got what she wanted out of the reading. She got her questions answered at the end. Um, and, she was nice. She was polite about it. But man, it made me realize I need to get more practice. I need to get myself comfortable again doing it because I just didn't realize how nervous I was going to be. Because it had been months since I had given a reading on my YouTube channel or in private, and just the pressure of knowing that it was live and what was happening was irreversible. I was doing it through someone else's platform. Like, once again, this wasn't my platform where I can personally give the guy a refund or the girl. I can personally handle the situation, and I'm the only one at stake if I apologize. I'm not going to get fired from my own business. I was doing this on someone else's business under their rules. I had to, perform a certain way. I had to make sure that I was giving them what they paid for, which just created so much anxiety, and ironically almost didn't give her what she paid for. But she got it ultimately. I I felt good about it by the end. Um and it just it was a realization of how easy it is to just give in to anxiety and fear and break down, and how important it is to really do a little bit of a cleansing exercise before you start giving readings so that you can be in the right headspace and you can be sure that you're not going to get your ego in the way, because ego is all about fear and control and manipulation. So it's not just letting things happen organically. When you give from a selfless place, no ego, there's nothing to stop you from just channeling spirit. And that's why ego is the biggest block to intuition, and it definitely was there. But we cleared it out, we did the reading, and I got back into the flow of it. It was like, okay, I got this now, I can go from here. And the biggest help is to not care about the sitter's feedback. It's hard because it is a service that they paid for, so you want to make sure that they give you positive feedback. You want to make sure that they get what they paid for and that you're giving them what they paid for. But the best way that you can do that is, ironically, to not care about how they respond and if they got what they paid for. You just have to do it, and it is what it is. Either they like it or they don't. All you have to worry about is whether or not you know you were doing it right. And it's their problem, because maybe you're doing it right. Maybe you're channeling perfectly. You're giving them messages, real messages. You're giving accurate descriptions of the people coming through. It's a conversation between you and spirit, and you're doing it the right way. You're doing everything organized by the book, but they still have a problem with it. And that's what you really have to remember, is that your client can have a problem with anything for any reason. They might just book something with you because they have a stick up their ass, and maybe they're a skeptic and they just want to prove something. That's why you have to disconnect from them. You don't want it to be about pleasing them. You're not there to perform a service for them. Um, in Ivy's teaching, she says it's light work first, business second. It's not customer service first, light work second. It's light work first, business second. So that's what the best way of thinking that really ensures that you're going to be doing the right thing. Because if they have a stick up their ass and they're complaining, at least you know that you did what you were trying to do, and you weren't basing it on how they responded. You weren't basing it on their validation and approval, which is, we shouldn't do that anyway in everyday life. We should never base how we feel on other people's opinions and expect validation and approval. That's not healthy. So Ivy always says mediumship, spirituality, it's a metaphor for life. And when you think of it like that, it applies. It consistently applies. So it's nice. It's something that I haven't lately been spending as much time on as I used to, and I want to get back into it because I have a lot of plans for 2024. I want to make sure that I'm actually present for it, and I'm not just kind of waiting for the year to go by. We're just coming out of winter, and that just brings such a feeling of stagnancy. I think I have seasonal affective disorder, because I almost feel like when it's winter, I just want to hibernate. I don't want to make plans. I don't want to think. I don't want to do anything. I just want to hide from the world. And I've been doing that. And I'm realizing I don't always do that. This isn't a thing that's, oh, my whole life I've been hiding. It's just the winter. That it just does that to me. So we're coming out of it, and I'm coming out with it. Um, so I need to not be as hard on myself. So yeah, let's see. Looks like I have two people in here. It reminds me of doing job interviews. Yeah, I guess that's the same thing. You can't go in there super worried about how they're gonna feel about you, because then all they'll be picking up on is your anxiety, and it's gonna make you look like you're not confident. And you know, they don't want to hire someone in most jobs who needs to be babied and catered to and who's just constantly looking for approval. They want to hire someone who seems to be confident to know what they're doing on their own. So that's the energy you want to carry into any situation, really. You don't need other people's approval. I got a question. Any messages for April? Okay. Messages for April. All right, let me take my pen cap off. We're getting the ball rolling. How do you pronounce your name? Emilius? Emilius? Is it Emilius? Let me know if I'm saying that right. I have no idea what these letters are. I know I had another subscriber named Emiliano. I'm not sure if it's the same person. It was a similar profile picture. Oh, I did say it right? It's Emilius? Okay. Great. All right. So, oh, it is the same person? Do you have two different names or something? Oh, you wanted a name alias for your channel. Okay. All right, well, I'll call you Emilius then, if that's what you prefer. Okay. So what messages do we have for April? I feel like this has got to be symbolic, because there's this big corridor, and you're kind of walking down it and picking up this shiny, like, golden crown. It does feel a little bit like the light at the end of a tunnel too. So, you know, if you feel like April has been the kind of month for you where maybe you could see something like this happening, where you maybe feel like you're coming out of a funk, you're getting a little bit of clarity. It feels like something really powerful, though. I mean, you picking up a crown, it feels like it's coming from a place of empowerment internally. So you may feel, regardless of what your actual status is, regardless of where you work or what is going on in your life, you may feel like you are kind of in charge of, who you are and where you're going. So there's a lot of, like, I don't know, big D energy in April. That's kind of what I'm picking up on, is just this confidence, which is kind of what I was talking about before you asked the question anyway. Oh, we got Jojo in here. Haven't seen you in a while. So, if you want anything specific, let me see. What did you ask? You just said, any messages for April? I want to just, before I move on to the next question, I want to give you a little more than that to work with. can hear the TV upstairs. Well, take the crown. That's what I heard. I was waiting for more, but just take the crown and keep it. I feel like I also am getting like a water slide, just kind of going downhill from here. So after April, you're gonna feel like smooth sailing. And the imagery of a water slide showed up, so it's like very smooth, very quick, and almost irreversible, which is a good thing. Did Jay know it was me that he seen when he seen me today? Jay. Okay, did Jay know that it was you? I don't think he or she is certain. I think that there's an awareness. I think that it's, sort of like how we all kind of know things, even when we're not admitting it to ourselves. Like people who are trying to deny basic realities. Like if they're sad and they don't want to admit that they're sad. It's kind of like that. Like I think Jay knows, but hasn't really decided, if he believes it yet. Sort of like, I think so, but I don't really know. Could go either way, and isn't really stressing over it. So I would give it like maybe I would. Here's the best way to put it. He suspects that it's you. Okay. Can you also give me a reading? Currently looking for a new job. All right, sure. I'll see what your work and money guide has to say. Debbie, okay. You have a lot of job opportunities, and I'm getting that you're in a free will zone, which basically just can feel a little bit like free falling, like you don't really know where you're going to land. And when this happens, our guides, our ancestors, our support system in the universe, our angels, everybody, they just kind of watch and they're curious to see where you're going to decide to go and what you're going to do. So I feel like you have a couple different options depending on what you want. And there really is no wrong answer as long as you're listening to your gut. So you could just, maybe spend 15, 20 minutes, no more than that. Don't want to overdo it and overthink and go on a whole spiral. But just 15 minutes, just sit with your guides, and if this is what you want to focus on, sit with your work and money guide, and just ask for a solution to the problem, maybe a suggestion. So what I'm seeing is, I mean, the names Pennsylvania and North Dakota keep coming up. So I'm not sure if you're like looking at relocating or something, or if you're just looking for a job where you already live and you're not trying to move. But it feels like things are kind of up in the air. Like you can kind of do whatever you want and go wherever you want. And I feel like the main suggestion that's coming up is something with banking. I'm not quite sure if you'd be working at a bank, but I see you handling money. So this is just a suggestion of like where you could be right now. It's not necessarily what you have to do for the rest of your life. I think people assume things need to last longer than they actually do, and sometimes things just are there temporarily. Like I got a job, it lasted 17 months, and I don't even think it was supposed to last that long because I was feeling in my gut like I was supposed to quit about a year before I did. So, sometimes sometimes you get a place just to get a specific thing accomplished. So know when the ride's over, basically. Know when to get off. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Let's see. Okay. Got a couple thank yous. I'm feeling a bit lost now. Things did not go well last month. Well, the lost feeling would make sense if you're in a free will zone. But I started receiving a few contacts from recruiters. I'm a graphic designer, but looking for a job in IT. Okay. Cool. Graphic designer. That sounds fun. All right. Yeah, pretty in pink. You can ask a question. I'm just limiting myself to an hour here, which leaves 25 minutes left. Because I don't want to burn myself out. I'm just getting re-immersed in the world of offering readings. It's been a little while since I've done it, and I kind of want to get into it again. It's fun. My mom upstairs just played a movie, it's still on, and I think it's called Over Her Dead Body or something. It's a movie it's from 2008. It's got Paul Rudd, and it's about this girl who dies getting crushed by an angel statue after she just yelled at the person who gave it to her, I think, because it didn't have wings. And she's like, all angels have wings. Then she dies, and she's in this white space, and this lady talks to her and says she's an angel, and she goes, you don't have any wings. So it was funny because there's this other lady who's a psychic, and she was trying to contact this dead lady years later. And it just got me thinking about the fact that I actually am a real psychic. And just the differences. Every time I see psychics or afterlife or anything depicted in movies, I always compare it to reality and see if they're getting details wrong, if there's something that's unrealistic. And I just find that fun to do. But I already wanted to do this, and this made me want to do it even more. So yeah. Is R attracted to me? What does he think and feel toward me? Okay, is R attracted to you? R. What does he think and feel towards you? Let me focus on that question. Just trying to make sense of some interesting imagery that I'm getting. You know what? I'm just gonna throw this out there. I keep seeing macaroni and cheese. I don't know why. I'm trying to get more information. Just bear with me. I feel like he likes you. Because I don't know if this is a bit of a reach, but I feel like I keep hearing the term won the lottery. So R, the impression that I'm getting is it feels positive. I don't want to lean too much into that because at this point I'm just going off the symbols that I'm getting, the imagery, more so than a gut feeling. For some reason I'm having trouble connecting with his energy. I keep drawing hearts I didn't even notice. That's weird. I don't think I did that on purpose. he's like an old-fashioned kind of person in the way that he thinks. He doesn't express that he likes me. I think he's afraid to. I don't know how old either of you are, but some of the things that I'm getting and the things that I'm feeling, it feels a little bit old-fashioned, the way that he views things, but still respectful. And I feel like he might just be a little bit unsure of if he can talk to you or how you feel about him. I don't know. I mean, but let me see, what would happen if you talked to him? Yeah, there's a connection there. I would try to see where you can go with that. Just initiate something. I mean, if you haven't told him that you want him to like you, I would make that clearer. How old are both of you? Because I feel like it could go in a lot of different directions. I'm not really sure about that. We are in our 20s. That's what I was gonna guess, but I was also getting the impression that it could have been. I was thinking is either 20 or 40s. So it was like one or the other. But I was leaning toward like mid-20s, mid to early 20s. Yeah, it makes sense. I keep thinking I'm 23. I'll be 23 in October, but I'm not yet, so I don't know why. I don't know how old I am. I don't know what that's about. I just heard through the floor, it must have been the movie that is being watched. I'm not gay, I've never been gay, I don't have sex with men, they don't have sex with me. What could possibly have been the context for that? Am I missing a good movie? Should I have stayed and watched this? No, I had to do my live stream. I said that I was going to do live streams on Fridays at 8 o'clock. I want to stick to that. I also do live streams at 8 o'clock on Sundays. So whichever day is better for you, you can go between my two channels. If you're not subscribed to my other channel, I have the link in the description of almost every video. Except this one, for this video, I have the link to where you can book a private reading with me, which I would recommend if you want more information, because private readings are, they're more in depth, and with the voice vibration of a phone call, I can actually connect with you a little bit better. And you don't have to talk, you don't have to ask me anything, I can just tell you what I'm getting, and that's usually when you get the most information, is when you're not asking questions, because then I don't have anything to work with. I don't feel like I have to focus on a specific message. I just talk, and what comes out, and that's often when you get the most dynamic readings. However, if my anxiety gets in the way, it can be really bad. So that's why I'm trying to practice and get more familiar and confident. Do you see R making a move toward me? Is R gonna make a move toward you? It's a free will thing. He could decide randomly at any moment. So right now I'm getting the impression that he hasn't really thought about it. I mean, I feel like he's kind of trying to avoid stressing about it. Is he like the kind of person who just... Is he someone who doesn't really do a lot of, like, difficult things? difficult decision making. He seems like he tries to just avoid stress in general. And I also feel like he might just do things the way that things are expected to be done. Like a little bit, I don't want to say patriarchal, but he doesn't seem like the kind of person who really challenges a lot of ideologies. He just kind of goes with things. And he also seems like he might have some anxiety, which could be the reason for that. So, yeah, if you initiate it, I think it could go well. My ex-boyfriend Zane, we broke up a month ago. Sure, what's your question? I'll write his name down and get started. It's an interesting name, Zane. My mom dated a guy named Zan once, just Z-A-N. When I was in kindergarten, we were writing down words that started with each letter of the alphabet, and when we got to Z, I wrote Zan, and my teacher yelled at me and said, "That's not a word." I was like, "It's my mom's boyfriend's name." I did weird shit in kindergarten. One time I ate a book because we had just gotten a puppy who was chewing everything, and I picked up a book and I just started chewing it and ripping the pages off. I think it was that book with the alphabet. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like orange and all the different colors, and it had all the letters in it. I just ate it. I didn't swallow it, but I tore it up, and I got in trouble. Little 5-year-old Tristan. Okay. Do you think our relationship is over? Pakistan, okay. Zane, relationship over. I think that you maybe haven't done a cord cutting because it feels like there's still a cord connection there, and I keep seeing it like breaking. So I feel like the relationship did end, and I don't know that it's necessarily a good idea to try to force it back together. When you cut cords with someone, you're not saying you're never going to be with them again. You're just accepting that it's not what's happening right now. So I would recommend doing a cord cutting exercise, which should always be followed by a forgiveness exercise, to just sort of sever that tie. And it can come back at some point in the future. The cord can be reestablished as soon as you reconnect yourself with that person. But I feel like the reason that I was shown a cord breaking is to kind of suggest that that is what would be best, at least for now. So when you don't cut cords with someone, you can think about them, they can think about you, and then, you know, all of a sudden you're tugging and pulling at that cord, and they're thinking about you because you're thinking about them, and vice versa. So it's not really healthy if there was a split up, if you guys were trying to go separate ways. I'm not sure why this happened. Was there some level of dishonesty? Did he like cheat on you or something? Whatever it is, I feel like it has more to do with him than you. And I would say, you know, it can go in any direction, but I would recommend for now just doing a cord cutting. That way you're indifferent to how it turns out in the future. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it was more to do with him. Kind of moved on, but I just wanted to know how he feels about me now. He has depression. How does he feel about you? I think when you do the cord cutting, the other person feels it too. There have even been incidents of you know, someone doing a cord cutting with a person, and it's someone they haven't talked to in like a year, and then they finish doing the cord cutting, and then that person texts them like 5 minutes later, and it's like, hey, I was just thinking about you. So they feel it. They're aware that you did it, and I would recommend doing this to maybe help him, because I feel like he is thinking about you more than he should be, and you know, for his own sake. And obviously I can't tell him to do the cord cutting, so one of you has to do it. It's the same cord either way, it's just a matter of who's got the scissors. If you want to make sure you're doing it right, there is a class called Relationships, Boundaries, and Cord Cutting, and you can find it, the same link that I put in the description. If you click on that link and then you go to the menu, there should be something that says classes, and if you click on classes and scroll down, it'll be there. Relationships, Boundaries, and Cord Cutting, it's made by the same person who trained me to do this, and it explains in detail all about different aspects of relationships and how to make sure that you're having proper boundaries, and then it teaches you a cord cutting exercise and a forgiveness exercise. So I go through her for everything because, you know, she's someone that I know personally, we're friends, I trust her integrity, I think we think in a similar way, so that's why I was drawn to her. I can relate to her way of thinking, and a lot of people are drawn to her energy because she just has a very authentic and blunt kind of vibe about her. So out of everyone that I've seen, she is the one who really doesn't hold any information back. She even crammed all of this information into 28 weeks for a pretty low price for, you know, the course of how I was trained to do this. So it's a lot, and I think she's very generous with it, but also practical. So I would definitely recommend trying it her way, because she doesn't teach on anything unless she has personal experience to guarantee that it'll get you what you need. So who else was talking? Isn't this your standard time? This isn't your standard time. Oh, Dave, you guys gotta check my channel banners, because that's where my schedule is. When you click on my channel, and right up at the top where it has a little, like a banner, basically, it has my schedule. So anytime I make a change to my upload schedule on either channel, I always update the banner. On my other channel, it says I go live every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. On this channel, it says I post every Tuesday at noon and every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So Fridays and Sundays I do live streams, but each channel. So I'll be going live every Friday on this channel and every Sunday on the other channel. And I don't know if I'm going to continue the psychic readings. It might be a once in a while thing. It could be, you know, on the other channel. It doesn't really matter. But tonight, this was what I wanted to do, and I'm happy with it. I think it's been fun. I did 3 or 4 readings so far. Yeah. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Debbie. I notice every new subscriber because my subscriber count is so low, and oddly enough, I don't think anybody has ever unsubscribed from this channel, because I've only ever seen it go up. I don't think I've ever looked and saw that it went down, so I'm not sure what that's about, but it seems that no one's unsubscribed. My other channel, on the other hand, a lot of people unsubscribe. I have over 26,000 subscribers on that channel, and I always see it go down. It never goes up. But this channel is newer. It's very new. It's only a few months old. So I'm excited to continue growing it. I wasn't allowed to do live streams until I reached 50 subscribers. I recently got a viral video on this channel. It got 1,000 views in under a week, and then it stopped for some reason. Like, YouTube capped it off. It was doing pretty well. I don't know why it stopped at 1,000, but it was called the LGBT community, and I did not expect it to go viral because it's 44 minutes and 44 seconds. A long video, usually I wouldn't expect to get a lot of attention, but that channel that title, I mean, maybe it attracted people. Maybe people wanted to share their thoughts on that. And to my surprise, the comments were mostly positive too. I usually get a lot of hate anytime I talk about stuff like that, but it was mostly positive comments. And a lot of people were complimenting my camera quality too. Like, oh wow, this is such nice camera quality. I was like, really? Thank you. I film all my videos in 4K, so I was glad somebody noticed. But there were like 3 or 4 people commenting on that and saying they were like, I was afraid this was going to be hate bait or something, but I actually think this is a great video and I agree with everything you said. And I'm like, okay, unusually positive feedback. There was one person in the comments who was kind of being a Debbie Downer, but everyone was arguing with that person, and my argument, very simple and direct, had almost as many likes as the video itself. The comment, I mean, that I posted. People liked my reply to that person. So, I try not to engage in comment wars. However, when I do, I try to make sure that I'm keeping my responses brief and to the point, unless I'm in the mood to go on a rant. But that's not that I'm overindulging that person. That's just what I do when I'm alone. Sometimes I'll just go on a rant, even if no one's listening to me. So that's just, for my sake. I enjoy doing that. I used to go out of my way looking to argue with strangers on Omegle, but then Omegle died, so that is not a website that exists anymore. A lot of people pronounce it Omegle, and I don't understand how this is possible because on the website itself, it shows you how to pronounce it. It says O-H-O-M-E-G, Meg, U-L-L, ul, O-Meg, ul. That's how it's pronounced. That's what the creator of the website says. That's how the creator would pronounce it. And yet people say Omegle, and I've even had people argue with me that that's how it should be pronounced. Like I say Omegle, and they're like, it's Omegle. And I'm like, okay, well, you're wrong, but, what do you expect? You say what you want. You say it however you want. You're still wrong. But these are the same people who just don't care about their grammar. They're going to be grammatically incorrect on purpose. There's just some things that people don't care about at all, and I always find it annoying because I am a little bit of a grammar nerd, and I try really hard to make sure that I'm always using correct grammar because I think it makes you easier to understand, and you should be easy to understand. The singer Aurora, she was just talking about how she thinks sign language should be mandatory because I think, in general, we really need to take better care of disabled people and, do more with accessibility because we don't really even do the bare minimum sometimes. It's like we just think that people with disabilities don't exist. It's very sad, but they do. They exist, and they would appreciate it if you knew how to communicate with them if they're deaf or if they're blind or if they're not able to walk, if there were more elevators or ramps. There's some places where that it was not made for certain people who maybe are stuck in a wheelchair, people who can't hear, people who can't see. I get that you can't make everything accessible. Music, what can you do with music? How can you help a deaf person listen to music? It just is what it is. That is something that they're just going to have to be okay with missing out on. But there are people with hearing disabilities who listen to Aurora, the singer I just mentioned, so she does actually try to make sure that her music has an energy to it, has like vibe that you can dance to and stuff. So she's just very considerate and conscious of these types of things. In general, she's a very, very smart person, very good person. Her upcoming album is called What Happened to the Heart, which is a very important question about how we just as a society, we put the heart second, if at all. We don't really think about what the right thing to do is. Coming from a place of caring about other people, we just sort of think a little too practically, a little too unemotionally. And I think that listening to your emotions in general isn't a good thing, but it's also not a good thing to listen only to your logic either, because logic and emotions, they're both depending on your own head, and you don't know everything. What's a baby's logic? What good is that? What's a baby's emotions? What good is that? And we're basically just babies who got a little smarter, but we learned from each other, who were also just babies once. But we didn't only learn from each other, because then we wouldn't know anything if that were true, because something cannot come from nothing. So, how does a spider know how to build a web? How do birds know how to sing? And why does every single dove, regardless of where it is in the world, have the exact same call? It's like, ooh, 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 ooh. They didn't communicate. They didn't learn that. They just know it, and it's the exact same call. So why? How? That's the thing. It's because of intuition. It's because things are just kind of innate. And that's where we learn a lot too, and we don't even realize how much we learn from our intuition. Memory from past lives, just tuning into that higher self that just has the information that you need. That's how we survive. That is how we learn. We don't just learn from each other because we don't know shit. But that's why it's important when you're listening to your logic. In general, your intuition is always the best thing to listen to, but in general, your logic tends to align with your intuition. So if you ever are having trouble listening to your intuition and you're like, should I listen to my emotions or logic? Lean on logic. You almost never want to listen to your emotions. That's bad advice. However, in the context of what Aurora was saying, it is logical to say that what does anything matter without each other? That, what goals that you have about what you want to accomplish, where you want to go, what you want to do, what does it mean if other human beings don't matter, if other living things don't matter? It doesn't mean anything. It wouldn't mean anything unless you're lying to yourself, and that's not logic. But to some people it is, and that's the problem. People can lie to themselves. That's why you can't always trust logic either. So what happened to the heart basically just means, do we just not care about each other anymore? Are we so selfish and fearful that we're not going to consider how our actions are going to affect others? We're just going to do what's easier. We're going to sleep and let the world burn when we're sleeping. And eventually you'll catch on fire too. And that's what these people don't seem to realize. A lot of them, I think, are depressed too. But the question, what happened to the heart? The album has 16 songs. It's coming out in June 7th, I believe. June 7th. Not far off. I think it's going to be a good album. If you've listened to her first couple albums and you've listened to the singles she's released, it's headed in a good direction. So the interview that she just did where I'm talking about this stuff, I didn't realize how smart she was. I knew she was smart, but she is just so well spoken and so smart, and English isn't even her first language. She's just adorable. She's an adorable person. So I recommend going to Aurora's YouTube channel and going to her community posts. And if you scroll in her community posts, you will see she posted the link to the interview that I'm talking about. So just go to Aurora. That's her name. Aurora Axness, but you don't need to put in her last name as a musician. It's just her first name. Hi, Cheryl. It's someone who I think needs your help. Oh, who could need my help? Dave. Dave, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. You got a gay YouTuber named Aaron? What's his channel name? He lives in a group home. How old is he? Oh, his channel name is On the Aaron. He's 21. Where is he located? Minnesota. He's from Minnesota. He lives in a group home on the Erin. Well, what can I do? What, do you want me to fucking adopt him? I don't live in Minnesota. Minnesota. He's live right now. Dave, I don't have another device next to me, so I can't watch his live stream until I end mine. But still, what do you want me to do? You said you need my help? What do you think I am, Jesus? Oh my god. I just remembered I had a Jesus nut in my DMs on Facebook, and it was kind of entertaining. It was very entertaining, to be honest. This guy, I've never met anybody who, like him before. So it stopped. I don't know why, but for a couple days, maybe 2 or 3, I was getting an unprecedented number of Facebook friend requests. Like, I couldn't leave the app unattended for an hour without coming back to 10 new requests. It was weird. And it stopped. And I don't know why it stopped, just as much as I don't know why it started. It was out of nowhere. And in all of these friend requests, I did get a few people trying to message me. Some of them were nice. Most of them were weird. It was maybe like 4 or 5 people that tried to message me. It wasn't a huge amount. It wasn't nearly as many as the requests that I got. They didn't all try to talk to me, thank God. Otherwise, I would have gone nuts. But this one guy, his name's Craig, right? He messages me. He says, hi. And I said, hi. And he says, can I ask you a question without you getting mad at me? And I said, yeah. And he goes, have you ever been spanked? And I said, I guess, probably. Why? And he goes, I'm gonna spank you. And I said, okay. What the fuck is he talking about? So, you know, we didn't talk for like a day, and then he starts talking to me the next day, and again, talking about spanking. He's like, are you bad? And I'm like, no, I'm not. He goes, you deserve to be spanked. I said, I don't deserve to be spanked. I haven't done anything. And he goes, well, do you use cuss words? I said, who doesn't use cuss words? He goes, well, then you deserve to be spanked. And I said, I disagree. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They're only words. And he wasn't really getting what I was saying. He wasn't having a debate with me. So he just kept talking about spanking. And I was like, dude, you're making me want to spank you. And he was like, yes, do it. So I was like, shit, should have said that. So we kept talking, and I was just not getting anywhere. It was just only spanking. It's just me giving him these short little replies to him being weird. And eventually I said, do you have a personality outside of this spanking interest? And he goes, yes. Fuck me dead. Forgot there was a phone down here. And he goes, well, yes, of course I do. I'm a big believer in Jesus Christ. I believe he can do anything. And I said, oh, shit, what? This is not where I thought this was headed. So I said, if Jesus can do anything, then why are there so many things happening in the world that Jesus would never approve of? Given what we know about Jesus, and given what we know about the world, how can you believe that Jesus can do anything? I mean, you must believe that there are some limits to his power, or that it's not Jesus. Because, you know, if it was really Jesus, the character talked about in the Bible, and he actually had the ability to do anything, 0 limits to his power, do you really think the world would look the way it does? Clearly, Jesus is not in charge of things. And I kept trying to make that argument, and he could not have a conversation with me. He just kept saying the same thing. It felt like that people's, you know, it's sort of like when a Christian tries to say, I know the Bible is true because it says so in the Bible. And it's like plugging an extension cord into itself to charge it. It just going in circles. And I was like, this guy is not even understanding the arguments I'm making. He was making no sense. So Yeah, Jesus needs to spank this guy. So he, you know, a lot of the people that added me, I think, are gay men, because I joined a group chat, um, of some gay guys on Messenger, because I had one on Snapchat, and then one was made on Facebook, and I joined that one. Not super active, but I just assume that those are the people that are adding me, you know. So I was thinking I was talking to a gay guy at first. He showed me a picture of himself. He's not attractive. He looks like he's like 40 or 50. Um, Strange looking guy, zero social skills, cannot have a conversation, doesn't acknowledge most of the questions I ask him. It got to a point where I just said, dude, why are you talking to me? Like, what about me made you want to message me? Oh no, what he said first, I think I asked him something. I was like, are you like this to everyone? Do you have friends? And he goes, yes, I have friends. And I said, do you have a boyfriend? He goes, I'm straight. I was like, okay, then why did you message me? What about me made you want to talk to me and talk about spanking me? And he goes, because you seem nice. I'm like, you didn't know that before you reached out to me. You didn't know jack shit about me before you reached out to me. My profile hardly had anything on it. There was like, why me? And he would not give me a clear answer. It got to a point where I was just so frustrated, feeling like I was talking to a brick wall. I said in all capital letters, I hate you. And he goes, I care about you. What do you say to that? I mean, these people are fucking cuckoo. Um, how thick do you have to be to not? This guy's from Ohio. He's not. It wasn't like English wasn't his first language, but he was talking like he didn't speak English. He had no conversational skills whatsoever. And that's why I said, how do you have friends? It wasn't like you could blame it on something like autism or anything like that. It was not an issue of like, is he mentally ill? Although, I mean, clearly there's something wrong with him, but it wasn't like because I have friends who are perfectly capable of understanding what the other person is saying, and they're on all sorts of different levels of like autism spectrum, ADHD, all different kind of mental health issues, and they still feel like you're talking to a human being. You know, this guy talked like a robot. So there's no excuse. You can't just say, oh, well, I have this condition. The reason you're talking that way is because you have a lack of interest in communicating with human beings like human beings. That's all that can cause that. And yet, he still is talking to people. Now, most people who talk like that, most people who really cannot have conversations with people, they don't go adding random people on Facebook and reaching out to them and messaging them and talking about spanking. Okay? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he can't blame it on a mental condition, because if that was to blame, he would not have been talking to me in the first place. He started the conversation, he kept it going, and there's clearly something very wrong with him. I don't know how, I've never met a spanking kink Christian straight male who doesn't answer questions. It's the weirdest thing in the world. And I was sending screenshots of it to my friend on Snapchat, and we were laughing about it. I tried to tell my grandma about it, and she's like, why do you waste your brain talking to these people? And it's like, all right, I guess I won't talk to you about it then. If you don't see the humor in it and you're just gonna judge me for it, but whatever. I don't care. I know what I'm doing. He liked you, prob. I know, but he said he was straight, and he didn't know shit about me other than what I looked like when he messaged me. Because, you know, my Facebook profile is the same as my YouTube profile. It's that black and white picture where I'm, like, looking out the window. That's all he knew about me, was what I looked like. And he's straight. Why is he talking to me? And why is he talking about spanking me? I mean, what the fuck? It's really, I mean, these people, I don't know how they're real. I don't know where this kind of shit comes from. Oh, I didn't see this. He's always saying he'll never have a boyfriend and cries about his disability. The homeless guy, what's his name? Aaron? On the Aaron. What's his disability? That's funny, just by coincidence I was talking about disability rights, I think even before you brought him up, although I don't know. That could have been why you brought him up, but I definitely wasn't talking about it because of him. He says he was born fetal alcohol syndrome. Ah, okay. What does that affect? I dated someone with that one time, and he randomly blocked me with no explanation. He is really impulsive. The guy that I dated, he was very quick in the way that things happened. And then he blocked me and he dated Zach the day that he blocked me. And then he did the same thing to Zach 2 weeks later. And then Zach and I met each other. It was weird. I've talked about that before, I'm sure. But he had fetal alcohol syndrome, according to Zach. He never told me that, but I found out about it from Zach. Zach, there was this lady who came into my store at the end of the night, and she would stay really late. You know, she would be hanging around there, even after, you know, we were getting ready to close. And she was talking to me about Zach because she saw Zach once. He was with me, and she goes, "Was he dropped on his head as a baby?" She was like trying. She goes, "I'm not trying to be rude, but is there like something wrong with him? Is he slow?" And I'm like, Jesus. What are you saying? Poor Zach. You know, it's just so funny because Zach is so innocent. Like, he doesn't have any awareness of some of the weird shit that he does. But just the fact that this woman is, like, thinking that about him, the poor thing. He's so cute. He is special. But yeah, he's also not good at this. Like, if he were to sit down with a camera and do something like this, oh god, the poor thing. I don't know if you guys have been to his YouTube channel and seen some of his attempts from a few years ago to make videos like this. The word cringy doesn't even begin to summarize the kind of energy those videos have. I mean, it's just Zach. He's his own term. They're Zachy videos. He gets distracted. I don't know that that's the issue. I think it might just be anxiety. I don't know. He's just weird. I don't know what I can call it. He's just unique. I've never met anybody like him. But yeah, so here's a little dog to end my live stream. No worries. And some Scotch tape for some reason. Matte finish magic tape. Who wants the matte finish kind? The clear kind makes more sense. What's the point of a matte finish? To make the tape more visible? Who wouldn't want see-through tape? Is that the purple one? Oh. Here's a... See, that's see-through, but it doesn't have a label on it. It must have been taken off, because it looks like it's... like it would have. But anyway, have a great rest of your night, guys. Before I go, is anybody else here? Does anybody else have anything to say? And Dave, I will check out on the Aaron. I'm gonna just write tickle to shaft. here's my paper. I apologize, we have not a blank side on the other side of it. So if you can see, I've written Tickle the Shaft at the bottom there. And that's all the other shit that I was drawing. And this is what the other side looks like. I was gonna grab a blank piece of paper, but I just didn't feel like it. This was there, and it's garbage, so whatever. It's the report of the printer. It has all of the things that have ever happened. Total pages printed, 23,623. All the ink cartridges and shit like that. Yeah, all the information. All right. I will see you guys later. Have a good night. See you on Sunday on my other channel.